Here we started. Shh. All right, there are 3 sections to this test. There's 3 sections to the test. The first one is describing the transformations of it. So the first one, let's talk about sine, cosine for these. So for this one, what you're going to do is you're going to have to tell me what the amplitude is. Go ahead, man. Let me just get it up first. Let me look at the test itself so I can give you a full answer. The amplitude, the period, the vertical shift, the domain, and the range. Okay? So I'm putting sine and cosine together because they have the same type. Okay?
Wait, what's amp?
Amplitude.
Oh, right.
Okay. So standard wise, this is like a blank sine, like just sine x. This will have an amplitude of 1, a period of 2 pi, a vertical shift of 0, a domain of all reals, so negative infinity to infinity.
Is there no horizontal shift?
I will not have that on your test for you. We did learn it, but I'm not putting it on your test. And the range is -1 to 1. Okay. Now, let's say we had an example like, we will. 2 sine 4x minus 1. So in this example, the amplitude is your A value, the front value. So your amplitude is 2. Your period is based off this B value. Since it's normally 2 pi, you're going to do 2 pi divided by your B value, which is 4 in this case.
Does it become 1/2 or is it?
Just 1/2. So 1/2 pi. So that means your period in this case is 1/2 pi. Remember, you divide the B. That's different than normal. Your vertical shift is your C value, so it's -1. The domain is going to be negative infinity to infinity. There's no way you could change that, no matter what I do. Your range, though, is a little weird. It is going to be, this should have been hard brackets, I apologize for that. But it's going to be a hard bracket. You're going to shift down 1, but amplitude 2. So what does that mean? I start at -1, but since my amplitude is 2, I'm going to go 2 from -1. So I'm going 2 up from -1. So 1, and I'm going to go 2 down from -1. So that's -3. So your amplitude here is 1, comma, -3.
Why is it 2 negative?
Other way. -3, comma, 1. My fault.
Wait, why do you have sin and cosine on the side? What does that mean?
This applies to both sine and cosine.
No, I think that's wrong.
What's wrong?
Because it goes up to 2.
No, it goes 2 up from where you start. Since you're starting at the vertical shift, which is -1, you go up 2 from there, so it's 1.
You put -3 on the bottom one. And
Because that's down 2.
Yeah, but it goes from the highest to the lowest.
No. Amplitude is the middle to the end, not end to end.
Yeah, but the highest is 2.
No. Your point is 1. The amplitude is your distance. This is your starting point. This is your distance. So from -1, I go 2 up, which is just +1.
Oh, so okay. So that's why it's okay. That's where I was confused.
Mm-hmm. No problem. Okay, next one. We're going to do tan and cotan. They're the same thing in these cases. Again, amplitude, period. This could be on your test. And since I'm looking at your test,
So
I recommend you knowing
go
this.
together and then tangent separate.
Tangent, cotangent go together, and I'll do secant, cosecant soon.
I'm saying, like, you have to remember all.
Yeah, that's a lot for
Vertical shift, domain,
How many questions are on
range. Okay, what's up?
How many questions are on this topic?
2.
Can you tell us just like one?
You ready? One of them is going to be a sine cosine, and one of them is going to be a cotangent tangent.
And secant and whatever one be?
No, because those are annoying. Okay, so amplitude. Now, amplitude for a tangent line, there is no amplitude. Okay, so put no amplitude or nothing or null.
Never.
Never an amplitude for tan cotangent. It doesn't make sense.
It's just a straight line.
No, like so when I say amplitude for sine and cosine, is because it's like this,
Yeah.
which means it goes up and down, right?
Yeah.
Cotangent and tang look like this,
What?
which means there's no like top or
Isn't
bottom of
that
it.
also like cube root?
Oh.
That does look like a cube root, yeah. They're similar. All right. The period,
Yeah, no, I'm not.
the period here is pi, not 2 pi, but pi. The vertical shift is 0.
God, I was thinking that my king.
The domain, I'll do the range quickly. The range is negative infinity to infinity. Not hard bracket, soft bracket.
That makes sense.
Because it goes up forever and goes down forever. Your domain, this is the weird one. Your domain is, it's going to be, how do I describe it? N, or let me write it like this.
Is it like an asymptote?
There's a lot of asymptotes though, so we got to write that. X does not equal N.
Wait, this was our answer, right?
This is the answer you write if it was blank, and I'll show you how to do it differently. N, N, how do I write it? I guess N times or plus. Let me think how I want you to write it. I'll think about it while I do the second part. So let's do an example. 3 tan 1/2 x minus 2. In this case, the amplitude still does not exist for tangent or cotangent. The period is going to be this value here divided by our normal period, which is pi. So pi divided by 1/2, which is pi times 2, or 2 pi. So your period now is 2 pi. Your vertical shift is down 2, so negative 2. Your domain, I have to think about how to write it. I'll just put a separate video for that somewhere else.
Okay.
Or like a quick note on it.
Or what if we just didn't get tested on it? Like, just like don't put the domain in, because if it's complicated for you, then it's like gonna be so complicated for us all.
That's the idea. And then the range will always be the same, negative infinity, infinity. Okay?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So those are like just state the things.
Wait, can you say the vertical one again?
The vertical shift is down 2 because it's this number.
Oh,
This-
it's just C, and then what is the period?
It's divided by pi in this case. Before, because it was 2 pi, we divided by 2 pi.
Yep, so you divide B by,
Mhm.
you put B on the bottom for the one, and then you put, wait, no, you put B on the top for.
Both of them you put B on the bottom.
B is always on the bottom.
Yeah.
Of whatever.
Mhm.
Period.
All right. Our next one, we're going to graph, okay?
That's the word, Mr. T. Okay.
We're recording, man. For a review for your test. Tuesday. All right. So,
Well, I have a history test on Tuesday.
Oh, wait, what?
Oh, yo.
that's on you then, not another thing. Guys, I'm going to ask you to take the blue now and leave, okay? Please, just go. Sabah, please. Sabah, you brought the blue. Take the blue now.
Mr. T, I'm a good guy.
You'll take the blue now?
Yeah, I'll take it out.
All right.
No.
All right.
Any specific place I should put it?
Not in my room. Okay. First off, sin x. Let's first draw a blank one, and I'll show you how to draw one with transformations. Graphing. So we're gonna. I'm telling you, you're not gonna have that on your test. So I'm trying to save you time. All right. No problem. So 1, -1. You're gonna put, and the question, I'm gonna say graph 2 periods, okay? So we're gonna need 2 periods worth of information. Now remember, let's, I guess, describe it like this. What is a period for a sine wave? I just said it earlier. Yeah, but what's the value? What was it? 2 pi, okay? So this is what I would do. Actually, let me put some more lines. In the middle here, I would put 2 pi, and then double the length, 4 pi. Then I would cut that in half, so I would just have 3 pi and 1 pi. And then I would cut those half again. This is graphing of the unicircle stuff, technically, yeah. Pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, 5 pi over 2, 7 pi over 2. Oh, I should make it clear, you do not have a calculator, like a trig calculator on this test, okay? So you can have a basic calculator that does not have trig on it. That has trig on it, so no.
So we don't get to use a calculator?
So you don't get to use the calculator. You can use a basic calculator, but... All right, so from here, we're going to start from the sine waves, start from the center, because it starts at 0 on the unicircle. At pi over 2, it's at 1. At pi, it's at 0. At pi, 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. At 2 pi, 0. Then repeat it once more. That is 2 periods of sine wave. For cosine wave, I'll do it in black, and I want to do it in the same wave just to save space. You would do the same thing for the x values and the y values. But in this case, we're going to start at 1 here, work to the middle, down, middle, up. Shift it to the left once, yes. Okay? So just remember, cosine starts at the top, and sine starts in the middle, okay? It could be if it's shifted that way. So we'll talk about, let's do one where it's shifted, okay? So this is the basic form, okay? You need to know it because you're
You
going
have
to,
to draw the bottom too.
yeah. I'm just giving you,
You're not gonna fill in the numbers for us on the ground?
no, you have to fill in the numbers. I'm going to leave it black, like this is what you get on the grid, okay?
I feel like it's easy though because it's all just, it's like every odd number over 2.
Basically. Well, let's see. Let's do it this one. Let's do 2 sine
1/2.
pi x. I'm sorry. Minus 2. Okay?
I've never noticed that before.
It's literally new edition.
That's so funny. Did you buy that yourself?
No, the school,
The
they,
school gave it to you?
yeah, they said I drank too much water, so they gave me
Oh,
one of these.
water fountain. That's so funny. The school got it for you?
Yeah,
Just for you or for everyone?
I think for everyone, but they said particularly for me.
That's
And you just
so
use
funny.
it again.
Well, you take a photo, I'll save it when I'm ready to drink.
I'll take a video of just your hand doing it, please.
I'll save it for when I'm actually thirsty, maybe after the video, okay? All right. So, we're going to use the same thing we did in the previous, like the first section. This 2, and then 4 in the end.
Wait, so two for the converting, like
8 questions on the test?
Pretty much.
That's wild.
The graphing has a lot of pieces to it, that's why. So there's a lot of parts.
So does the other part, technically.
Yeah.
this is gonna take a while.
Amplitude.
This is really
This is why there's not many questions. Amplitude, period, vertical shift,
What's the difference between amplitude and
domain, range. What's up?
Is it kind of the same amplitude and range?
A little bit, yeah. The range is like the result of the amplitude and the vertical shift combined. We'll talk about it. So in this case, the amplitude in this one is 2. The period here, remember, you divide your b value. So 2 pi divided by pi, that's going to be 2. So your period happens to be 2. It's sine. It's sine. Sine, that's why. Sine and cosine is 2 pi. Tan and cotangent is 1 pi. Vertical shift, down 2. I should have made these all 2s. That's my bad, but whatever. The domain is always the same. Yeah. And then the range is going to be, the lowest point is negative 2, and I'm going down, so that's negative 4.
How do your lowest point is -2?
I'm sorry, the middle is negative 2 because of the vertical shift, and I'm going down 2 from the amplitude, and I'm going to go up 2, so that's 0. Okay?
So kind of, with the, we can't do this part, I think you need to drink water. We can't do this part,
You can do this part.
no, we can't do this part without knowing the first part.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing's so good.
It's lagging, that's all. All right, so with that in mind, what we're going to do is I'm going to put my y values, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. And then we're going to split in half, and then split in half. So remember, my period in this case
Why
is
can't you make
2.
why can't you make the lines where they intersect -4? I mean -2 in the middle.
It doesn't really matter. Like, as long as it's drawn correctly. So it's going to be 2 and 4 because that's my period. 2 and 4. Cut in half again. So in between 2 and 4 is 3. Between 0 and 2 is 1.
Oh, this one doesn't have pi.
Yes, because remember, our period became just a normal 2. If it did have pi, we'll still put the pi. So in this case, it's half. This is going to be 3 halves, 5 halves, 7 halves. Okay, we're going to graph this. Remember, does sign start in the middle or the top?
So it starts in the middle.
The middle. So we're going to graph here. Then we go up, down, bottom, middle. This kind of got bad, but top, middle, bottom, middle. Notice how my middle is -2 in this case, okay? All right. So that's your graph. That's how you graph with shifts. Cosine, kind of the same thing, just start on top, all right?
Cosine, would you start at 0 for that?
You would start at 0 in this case, yes.
That's the highest number.
Mm-hmm. All right, so tan waves, you graph it like this. So remember, the period for a tan wave is pi. So this is going to be pi and 2 pi. And we'll split it in half once. So pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Okay. So over here, let's show it to me later. Show it to me later. Like, can you not do that on the camera, please? Like, we're recording.
Why? What is that about?
I don't know, but just show it to me later. All right. So tan wave starts like this. You go up, pop up from the other side. It's 0 at pi. Up, pop up from the other side. Those would be 2 periods. Okay.
Look at the way it jiggles.
Okay. All right. So that's tan wave. Notice I start with my asymptotes being at the pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2, or the in-betweens of my periods, okay? For cotangent, let me do it in green. For cotangent, almost the same thing, just kind of upside down.
It's upside down.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna have questions where there's like no, like, it's just like these instead of like plugging the numbers?
Like a plain one? No, they'll always have a shift to it.
So we're not gonna have to do this.
Well, this is the basic form, which helps you do the more complicated form. Okay. Remember, you start at 0, go up for tan or down for cosine, and then you just repeat.
No, for cosine.
Oh, cotan, my bad. All right. So
We're not gonna have to graph cosine.
it could be cosine or sine. It's the same.
Or I meant secant.
No, secant and cosecant will not force you to graph. All right. So with this one, let's graph tan. Now let's graph cotan of, let's do 2x, okay. Let's do +1, all right. Good. So we're gonna do amplitude, period, vertical shift, domain, range. For the amplitude, amplitude does not exist for a tangent, okay? So make sure it's blank or nothing.
What's a shell shock?
That's when like a bomb happens and your body's shaken up because of the explosion nearby.
But people like got deformed because of a shell shock.
Yeah, it's like a big vibration that goes through your body.
And like now his face is indented in how?
When a bomb explodes, it pushes a lot of air, so that air could hit you and cause shell shock.
That's crazy.
Period would be, remember, in this case, it's pi divided by 2 is going to be your period. But remember, it's just pi because we're doing tan and cotangent. So pi over 2. Your vertical shift is +1. Your domain, I'll talk about that in another video. Your range is negative infinity to infinity. All right. So You're going to cut this in half. In this one, you're going to do your period, which is pi over 2. And then double your period, which is just pi. Cut it in half once more. Pi over 4. And 3 pi over 4. Put your asymptotes in the I guess these quarter ones. And since it's cotangent, it's just how I always do it. Like this is, if you do it this way every time, you'll get it right. It's always the asymptote, not asymptote, asymptote, not asymptote. I guess you count this as not asymptote. You start normal. And then in this case, we're starting at +1. So there's 1. So my dot will be here. It is cotangent, so I go up or down, I mean. And then I'm going to go down from here and hit 0, or the, I'm sorry, not 0. But I'm going to hit, when I'm at pi over 2, I'm going to hit the vertical shift, which is 1. It's only in the video. And then over here, you know. God bless.
Now it looks and assumes was talking to himself. Schizophrenic.
That's fine.
No,
At least
my
it's
dad-
recorded.
My dad has an issue with the 0 ever since we were in Israel.
Okay.
He can't hear. So yesterday I was in the kitchen. I had come home at like 12:30 in the morning. I was in the kitchen talking to my mother. And my dad was in the shower. I was right next to us.
Yes.
And like whatever, he came out. No, he like opened up the door. He was already dressed. He was like, I don't know what he was doing. Like probably like brushing his teeth or something. And my dad's like, who are you talking to? Like to my mom. Who do you, like, what do you mean, who am I talking to? You don't hear the voice? Like, no, it sounds like you're talking to yourself. No one's there. And then,
Yeah.
and then my mom starts going upstairs, and I sneeze, and my mom says, "Bless you." My dad goes, "I didn't even sneeze." Like, it's just so funny.
I hear you. Or I guess not like your dad does. So. All right, for this one, evaluate arcsine. So when I say evaluate arcsine or arccosine or arctangent or whatever, you're thinking to yourself, where in the unit circle causes root 2 over 2?
45.
Yeah, sine -1 and arcsine is the same thing.
Oh my god, I didn't even see that. 45.
So 45 degrees is where it happens, which means you have to give your answer in radians, pi over 4, okay?
That's so easy.
Yeah. So if you
convert the that into a pi.
Now remember, for sine and tangent, I'll put this here. Sine and tangent, arcsine and arctangent. Your answers have to be in the first or fourth quadrant. So your final answer, like your answers here, should technically be between pi over 2 and negative pi over 2.
Wait, why?
Because if you
They're
keep,
both positive there?
yeah. Oh, one's positive, one's negative.
There.
One positive, one negative here.
All students take calculus, but
Only cosine's positive on the bottom. So cosine is different though, because if I did that, cosine would be positive twice, and that's not useful. So we do it from here, from 0 to pi.
because you want it to be negative?
I want to have the ability to do negative.
So they're all always going to have the first quadrant. And then whichever one doesn't have that in it.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right. So arctan,
Why can't cosine also be the third?
the fourth one you mean, bottom right?
No.
The third? Because you want them connected. Otherwise, there'll be like a gap. Yeah. All right. So this one, arctan, is negative pi root 3. So you're asking yourself, where is tangent negative root 3? Which must mean you have root 3 over 2 divided by 1 over 2. So where is sine negative root 3 over 2, I guess you could kind of say? So sine is at negative root 3 over 2 at 60 degrees. But in this case, since we're in quadrant 4, negative 60 degrees. And then you just got to make sure that's in radians.
What's the divided by 1/2?
Oh, this is tangent, right? Root sine over cosine. Tangent is sine over cosine. So it doesn't matter. However you remember tan. Yeah, opposite over adjacent. Okay. So that's arcsine, that's arctan. Sometimes we have trigs and trigs. I'm sorry, there's 9 questions on the test. I think earlier I said it was 8. So, for example, tan of...
I just would like to thank you for the last 4 years, sir. And Have an amazing rest of your.
Everything's on video. Just
Oh really?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
The last time I'll be on his recording.
That's it.
Bye, Shalom.
Bye, Bianca.
All right. So tan, arctan of let's say 5.
I'm surprised he's in school. I haven't seen him in school in like years.
Can we not say Lashon Hara on camera?
What lesson are it's obvious?
All right. So this one, arctan is 5. So first off, you got to remember, can I have a 5 in my arctan? That's actually okay because tan and arctan will cancel each other out, which means in this case, your answer is just 5. That's okay. So when you have the normal one and the arc on the inside, they just cancel out. It's really easy, okay? Now, the other way, though, is not so easy.
Is that only for tan?
That works for all of them. All right, for example, let's do arc sine of, let's say, no, let's do 3 pi over 2. So first off, let's figure out what sine 3 pi over 2 is.
60 degrees.
Not 60 degrees. This 3 pi over 2 is 270 degrees.
Oh, because that's the bottom.
Yeah. So 270 degrees, which is straight down, which means this answer is -1. So now we have arc sine. Sure. This is in the unit circle. 270 degrees is right here in the red dot. And then that coordinate point is 0, -1.
Okay, yeah.
And then the y values are -1. Or signs are y values. So this must be -1. Then we have arc sine of -1. So arc sine has to be -1, has to be over here. But remember, we're going like this way, not the long way around. So it means the result of this is -pi over 2. So you have to do it within the range of that. Mm-hmm. Yes, -90 degrees basically. And then the last one, let's do tan
Oh my God,
of
Toll is no longer sharing.
arc.
It said that on the screen. Oh.
All right, I'll just leave it for the recording then. Sorry about that in the class. Let's just do this. Tan and arc cos. Let's say let's do secant. Arc secant of 13 over 5. All right. So this one you have things that are not exactly related, like tan or sine. So this one, arc secant is 13 over 5. That means that's kind of like the same thing as saying arc cosine is 5 over 13. If I were to draw a right triangle that had 5 over 13 with it, here's the theta, let's say. If it was cosine 5 over 13, adjacent would be 5, and this would be 13. You could use the Pythagorean theorem, or no, it's a 5, 12, 13 triangle. So now I know this theta should be here. Do I know what actual arc cosine 5 over 13 is, or arc secant 13 over 5 is? I can't figure that out without a calculator. But what helps me is that I don't actually need to figure it out. I know it makes this triangle. So if this is some mystery theta of some sort, so this becomes some mystery theta of tan. But with the mystery theta of tan, I could do opposite over adjacent, which is equal to 12 over 5. That should cover everything on your test.